Great.
Hey there. Uh, so what I want to talk about today, I want to talk a little bit about planning your mental training. And so what we're going to do today, or what I'm going to do today, is of course start with 3-minute mindfulness in just a minute. Um, and then I am going to spend a little bit of time thinking about what I want to be focusing on over the next few weeks and months. Because having a little bit of structure and a little bit of planning in place is really valuable for physical training, technical training, and of course, mental training. Um, Now, this is going to take into consideration one of the principles that I use in competition preparation, which is that anytime you have to make a decision that takes energy, and it's like the same energy as willpower and a lot of that energy that we use in competitions. So the term for having to make a bunch of decisions and then being tired from that is decision fatigue. And it means what this means. I'm sorry, to step back. Making decisions takes energy from the same bucket as we use when we compete. So in order to compete and have an easy time at competitions, we want to have as few decisions as possible outside of our actual fencing. So we want to plan some things in advance, not because they have to be rigidly exactly that way, but so that we are not required to make those decisions in the moment. In the same way, when we plan our training in advance, it makes every specific individual training session so much easier, right? You're not stuck trying to both make decisions about what you're doing and do it at the same time. So I have not been super consistent about planning my training ahead of time. And so I'm often showing up and kind of going, all right, what am I going to do today? I'm going to do this. All right, I'm going to do this other thing, which it's not a fundamentally bad thing. There's nothing wrong with that. If you're training, you're training. That's great, right? However, it is both easier and more effective to have a bit of structure and say, I'm going to work on this thing at this time. I'm going to work on this thing at that time. And especially if there's kind of a logic to that, right? For example, in physical training, you want to be doing more kind of volume and like more training sessions, but at a lower intensity way earlier than a competition, a few months before, and over the course of the season, or as you get closer to the most important competition, you want to be getting to lower volume and higher intensity until right before a competition, you might do just a little bit of very intense training. Uh, Running, you might just do a few sprints. You might lift for a very short workout, but do a really intense lifting session, very high weight. Um, and you might fence just like 3 very competitive bouts, or even just one a couple days before a competition. So what I'm going to do is today, I'm going to start by 3-minute mindfulness as always. Then I'm going to go into a few minutes of just kind of journaling about what my training is going to look like over the next few months. And then I'm going to write down just a few thoughts on what that's going to be. I'm not going to get super granular or super specific at the moment, um, but I'm just going to outline a few things. And you might say, well, Corwin, this is your time that you're supposed to do your mental training. Why are you taking up this time with planning your mental training? And the answer is because this is the time I've set aside to work on my mental training in whatever capacity that is. And today, what I want to do for my mental training is plan ahead. So uh, let's go ahead and get started. Now, in looking back at some of these videos, it's come to my attention that the the audio is not always clear for the 3-minute mindfulness, like the dings in between the different parts of the exercise. So I'm going to say when I when I go from one exercise, I'm sorry, from the breath to I'm sorry, from the mind to the breath and from the breath to the body. I'll just mention that verbally so that it is easier to follow along at home. All right, starting in just a few seconds, bring your attention to your thoughts. And then the second, to recap, 3-minute mindfulness. The first minute, attention on your thoughts. The second minute, attention on your breath. And the third minute, attention on your body, on the physical sensations you're experiencing. Starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Notice your thoughts. Now move your attention to the breath. And now move your attention to the body.
Activity completed.
And with another deep breath, open your eyes and we come out of the exercise. All right, what I'm going to do now is I'm simply going to take 5 minutes, and I'll probably take 5 minutes and then another 5 minutes. But I'm going to set a timer for 5 minutes and write out some thoughts on what I want to do with my training, my mental training over the next few months. What I'll do is I'll do 5 minutes writing out just some thoughts, and then I'll do another 5 minutes getting more specific and saying, okay, in the next, like this month, I'm going to work on this week, this week, this week, this, or maybe just this month, I'll do these 3 to 4 exercises regularly, that kind of thing. And specifically, what I want to make sure I end up with at the end of this process is some a specific focus for each of the next 3 months. And I want to work on developing a mental warm up so that I have a consistent way to start every competition day and a way to get my mind ready for competition, the same way that I warm up and get my body ready for competition. All right, 5 minutes starting now. And my timer is just about up. So I'm going to stop that and start another one in a moment. What I got for kind of my notes on where I'm at right now is the two biggest things that are issues for me are kind of losing focus in the middle of the bout, uh, and and getting nervous. Excuse me, getting nervous, which is related to losing focus. Um, like I think it causes me to lose focus, but it's not quite the same. So I want to find a way to deal with being nervous, right? What I really want to do is I want to be able to stay focused better and longer. And I want to be able to refocus more quickly and more kind of at will. Uh, and I want to know what impacts my ability to focus, right? I know if I go into a competition and I haven't got things kind of settled in my life, I can't focus. I'm not going to be able to bring my attention to bear on what I'm doing because there's too much other stuff going on that I've got to worry about. And then I also want to improve my confidence, and I want to be able to keep my physical, like my body still activated, still ready to go, still warmed up, but let my mind quiet down a little bit. And yeah, let's see how we can do that, or let's see what I come up with. I'm going to set another timer for 5 minutes and write out a few exercises to focus on um, for the next few months. And I recommend you do the same. All right. So I'm once again at the end of this 5 minutes. And I haven't gotten to a specific mental warm-up routine yet. I might have to write that out next week. I might do that between now and then. But frankly, I probably won't. What I got, though, that I want to focus on or that I want to do is to help myself learn how to stay focused. I want to do 1 to 3 minute meditations, and I might do 1 minute 3 times in a row with kind of a break in between, where I'm just focused on the breath and I'm simply observing it without changing anything, doing a mindfulness exercise. In order to help myself learn to refocus, as in, when I lose focus, get it back. I'm going to do again a 1 to 3 minute meditation, but instead of simply observing my breath, I'm going to actively control it. Maybe take deeper breaths, slower breaths, something, right? And that will help me refocus, I think. In order to know what is going to help me focus or what's going to impact my focus in and outside of bouts, I'm going to imagine a competition scenario and then write down some things that I think will help me to focus or interrupt my focus. So that's all about staying focused. And then for my confidence, I'm going to do some visualization. I'm going to come up with a list of affirmations, positive things I can say about myself, but this is specifically things that I know are true, things I believe that I need to simply remind myself of from time to time. For example, I know I've been training consistently. Have I been training 6 days a week, full time, multiple workouts a day, like probably a lot of the French national team has? No, but I have been training consistently as well as I can. For example, something like that. I know I'm very experienced. I've had a lot of years in the sport, things like that. And then there's also some sort of cognitive behavioral therapy type techniques that I can use the day of the competition to get more confident. Things like what I've included in my competition day worksheet, which if you don't have it, let me know and I can send it to you. And then I'm also going to sort of make sure I'm aware of specifically what I want to focus on in my fencing and stay focused on that. It's kind of like having a process goal to make sure I'm not getting distracted by a bunch of stuff I don't do well. I stay within the scope of what I'm doing well myself. And then I also want to keep my physical activation up, but relax myself mentally. And I'm going to do that through two things. One is progressive muscle relaxation. And the second one is by developing a mental warm-up routine that I can do that can be predictable, reliable, consistent, and we know predictability, consistency they're calming and they help us feel confident because there is no decision fatigue, no effort involved. You simply go through what you already know how to do. And that is going to be all for today. There's still a bit more to do, still developing that mental warm-up routine for myself. But I'll do that another time. Thank you so much for watching and catch you later.